Who else can I talk to? I'm lost. When you left, and he left, you took everything with you. But the absence of him is everywhere I look.
I request. Okay. There
There
we
we go.
go.
Did it.
Can you hear me perfect?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's weird. I hear my own echo with the headphone.
Oh,
How
no,
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hold on, let me.
Good. I'm good. How are you?
All right. So, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Hey,
So, do you want to introduce yourself first? And
froze. I don't know if it's a freeze on my end or your end. Okay,
there we go.
you back now. Okay, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Latonya. I am a life coach and associate marriage and family therapist.
Welcome. Yes. And my name is
Yes.
Leslie. I am a mental health advocate. I'm an entrepreneur. So I am just looking to connect and speak more about mental health and make it a daily thing, a daily topic.
Yes.
So today we wanted to go live to talk about your organization and what you're trying to do in the community.
Yes.
And I would love for
Mm-hmm.
you to speak more on that and what your main goal is for your community.
Okay, so I am currently fundraising at the moment because I want to create some sort of scholarship to provide mental health services to underserved and underprivileged communities. So that cause is very important to me because I realize with me working in the mental health field, from working from South Central to upper echelon neighborhoods, Calabasas in California, I noticed that there's a large disparity when it comes to mental health, actually all healthcare services, when you look at the underserved communities. So with the knowledge that I have, which includes cultural competency, because they miss out on that too, in the mental health field, you also learn that it's based off of a cisgendered white male gaze. So a lot of times they don't often take into account the experience of the underserved and underprivileged communities. And I feel like it's important that they have help, but also the right kind of help that understands their needs for that type of community. So, yes.
I love that. And what are some ways people can donate if they're looking to donate?
Yes, you can go to the link in my bio. Um, I have a GoFundMe link, and I know some people don't trust GoFundMe
Yes.
because they do take a large amount out of the proceeds. And also, well, if you don't trust GoFundMe, you can Cash App Live and Be Great, and you can help sponsor a client by that way and help get the word out and things of that nature.
Awesome, you guys. So you guys heard that. If you guys want to donate, you guys can go to her link and check it out. Now let's really get into talking about mental health and what do you feel like is a big misconception? I can't say the word conception when it comes to
It's
therapy.
okay. I think the biggest misconception is based off of how you grew up. A lot of people grew up in a spirit, not spiritual. When you say spiritual, like religious background, based off of a lot of control, and you have certain sayings like "What happens in the house stays in the house." Um, there's also a misconception that all you need is one session and you're fine,
One
right?
session, there's no
There,
way. Her link and you guys want to
that
donate. You guys
um, And healing is a constant process, right? It's not just you take this pill like you do like an Advil or a Tylenol. Like it takes work, and you have to be willing, but also you have to have the right therapist that you feel safe and you feel like you can be vulnerable with.
So you say it's better to
Oh,
try.
and judgment as well.
No, it's
Judgment as well. There's no. It's supposed to be a non-judgment, judgmental space.
yes.
Some people feel like if they tell somebody all of their flaws, they're just doing it so somebody could be all up in their business and judge them. But that's not what therapy is.
Not at all. So it's good to try out different
Mm-hmm.
therapists, read their background, see what they're about, and what's the best fit for
Yeah.
you. And there's so many different ways to do
Mm-hmm.
therapy and healing other than just talking to someone. There's also sound healing. There's also yoga
Yeah.
therapy. So there's so much that you can always check out. And it sucks that people are afraid to even say they want to take therapy because they don't want to be judged by their friends and think, oh, they have a huge
Yeah.
problem because they are in therapy. When in reality, everyone should be talking to someone.
Everyone.
Everyone should be talking to
Mm-hmm.
someone. We can't be bottling everything we have or our problems up. But yeah, that was one of my questions.
That's a good question. Have you ever tried therapy before for yourself?
Yes, when I was, I think, 22. I went for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just the type to be like, yes, you're right. Like, I know it's like they were telling me kind of things I had already, I knew I had to do, and putting it more into perspective. You know, I really felt heard, and which is important because usually you can talk to friends or talk to anyone, but not feel heard. That's important. You want to
Yeah.
feel heard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I did it for a little bit, but then I stopped because I moved. I really did like it. My problem was they don't give you a solution. I was always
Okay.
waiting for like, what's the answer? What do I do? Nah, you
Yeah.
figure it out yourself. They really make you
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable, and the best thing about it is that again, you're feeling heard, and
Yeah.
just feeling heard kind of takes it off and ease on how you're feeling and
Mm-hmm.
what you're going through. You're like, okay, I got it out of my chest. Now you can
Yeah.
really clearly think of what's your next move. What are you gonna do next? When it comes to whatever
Mm-hmm.
situation you're in, and compared to having everything bottled in, trying to think of what are you gonna do next, still having those feelings or that anger that you have mixed in the situation, that when you don't realize that those feelings you have bottled in is what's gonna make the decision, not a clear head.
Mm-hmm.
So you're letting your feelings make a decision towards certain things, but in reality, you need to have a clear mindset in order to make certain decisions when it comes to certain problems that you're dealing with in life. And I feel like with
Right.
therapy, it helped a lot clear everything else out and just really put my mind on what I needed to solve instead of making decisions with my heart and my feelings of what I was feeling during those moments. But yeah, I think again.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
I mean, this true. Like that's where we're all the clutter in your mind. The decluttering is what the therapist does.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like that's the stuff that you struggle with. My husband said the other day, if God wanted you to do it on your own, He would have made your arms longer. So, but you can't,
Exactly.
and you're not meant to. So it's important to allow yourself to receive the support that you deserve.
The biggest problem I'm seeing though is it's hard to afford it, especially the good ones. Especially if
Mm-hmm.
you want somebody, not the
Yeah.
good ones, but
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have insurance, it's expensive
Yes.
to get a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
expensive.
It can be very expensive because what you're paying for is the knowledge, right? And I know like someone like me, my knowledge goes beyond the it goes beyond the books. It has to.
Hmm.
Look at me. They don't account for this. They just don't.
Yeah,
When it comes to the education, that education is my master's education. It just gives you credibility,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
But the real work begins with who I am and me going through the process that I'm going to ask people to go through.
exactly.
That people are going to trust that works. Like I have to be willing to put in the
The
work
word.
as a therapist myself. So it's very beneficial. And another reason why the price is the way that it is because it's a lot of emotional work that you have to do. People are basically being reparented
Yep.
with your therapist all the stuff that your parents couldn't do for you psychologically and emotionally, the therapist does or the life coach does. So you're paying for long-term results
Exactly. Yeah.
that change your and impact your life, because if you're going through life in a hurt space, that's what you're going to attract, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you allow yourself to heal, it's a big, huge investment that can last the rest of your life.
Exactly. Now, how would you tell someone like how to find the right therapist? You know, some therapists are big in the game already. You know, they usually just have their pen and paper, and they're like a lot of people that see therapy or think about therapy, they just think about someone sitting there behind a pen and pad writing down notes. You know, so
Yeah.
how would you say someone that doesn't know nothing about how to pick out a therapist, or you know, is trying to do therapy but they don't know how to go about it? How would you recommend them to find the right therapist for them?
The right therapist for you, it has to be somebody that you feel validated by and seen by. That's the only thing I can tell you about that, right? You can also look at what are their qualifications, what do they work in, what do they specialize in. You get what I'm saying? Like for instance, you might like say if we had a young lady that is a rape victim, right? I wouldn't tell that young lady to not give a male therapist a chance, because sometimes people need to hear from their oppressor that what happened to them was wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So you have to make sure, regardless of whether the person fits what you feel like the therapist should look like,
Exactly.
right? See you and understand you. But there's also people, people of color, that don't feel like they want to have to explain their identity every single time. So they may feel safer with somebody that looks like them.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
also, you can also run into some issues with more people that I would say are still in their trauma,
Yeah.
and have disassociated themselves from the culture. So that is something that you may run into as well. So you have to make sure, regardless of the background of the therapist, that I feel safe and I feel comfortable and I feel heard in my session.
Gotcha. Those are very important things, and I appreciate you telling us, giving us your secrets.
Yeah.
What are some other things? Does anyone want to ask anything? We have people going in and out when it comes to therapy. Let's see. Nothing so far. Do you feel there should be there's a certain age people should have therapy or start therapy?
Every age.
Yeah.
Every age. Because even for little kids, there is play therapy, right? If they're talking and if they're going to school, and you see something going on that's a little bit odd in their behavior, they're more aggressive or they're to themselves or whatever the case may be. If they're withdrawn, and like you can get a play therapist, right, to meet them at their level and figure out what's going on mentally. Because I know a lot of people may say, like, I had a friend of mine ask me advice about her child is always tired.
Yeah.
The child eats a lot, eats what they feel like eating, but they're always sleepy, right? So that can be an indication of night terrors, where the child is constantly having nightmares.
Yeah.
So they're probably not getting enough rest.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's true. When you do go to sleep, doesn't mean you're truly sleeping.
Exactly.
Like your
So
mind
if
can
you
still
see
be
a child,
awake and still running.
exactly. So people that aren't rested, they have a lot of stress going on, and don't think just because they're kids they don't have stresses. They do, because what's real to them is what's real to them. Period. So it affects their mind and their body just the same.
The same. Now, I feel like people have a big they when they think of mental health, they think it's just it's all mental, but I feel like one big thing they really miss out on is that yes, it's mental, but at the same time, when you really hit that rock bottom, it can also become physical. It can become to a point where you're tired, you know you don't want to get out of bed, and people think it's just by saying, hey, you got this, you got to be stronger, just got to keep going, that it's
all because we hear those words, we're like, okay, you know, I'm gonna get up and just be stronger today and keep going. No, it really takes over your body and your mind, where you're just, you're in bed and you think to yourself, all right, let me get up, let me start my day. But you really can't get up. You really can't move. You're just there. You're just like, I want to get up. At the same time, my body is saying otherwise. My body just wants to stay here and rest. And the reason we want to rest and not and sleep all the time is because during those times where we're resting, we don't feel pain. We don't feel anything. It's numbness. There's nothing else but just numb, pure numb. No pain, no stress, no feelings. It's all gone. I mean, I don't know how anyone else feels, but that's how it was with me when I've been in my depressive state. I would just sleep all day because I didn't want to feel anything. I wanted to be numb to everyone. I didn't want to deal with anyone. And I know some people that I talk to, others that, you know, struggle with depression. I know some people, their room, if you walk into their room, oh boy, it's a train wreck. It's a mess. And a lot of people think, oh, they're just messy people. No, like they're not just messy people. There's more to the story than what you know, and it's because of the depression. If your mind is cluttered, your surroundings, it's going to be cluttered as well. You know, you can let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm just speaking of experience.
No, you're definitely no, you're definitely right. It's a lack of motivation, right?
Yes.
And then a lot of times it doesn't mean that just because the person is messy that they're a bad person, but it could also mean that their mind is focused on something else. Like there's a lot of very intelligent, messy people, and cleaning up just may not be their ministry.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So that's supposed to be the person that, okay, I make enough money for somebody to do this for me, and I can focus on being creative.
Yeah.
You know? So a lot of times in that depressed state, you're looking for the thing that's going to bring you that instant joy.
Yeah.
So some people might turn to drugs. Some people might turn to food. Some people might do it a healthy way and turn to dancing, or they'll turn to art, or whatever the case may be. But your brain and your heart and your spirit is constantly looking for, okay, when am I going to get this rise? Because I need whatever this rise is to get me up out of bed.
Exactly.
But the thing is, when you need the therapist, I think which everybody needs a therapist regardless, but how can we form some healthier avenues that we can keep you more in a state of joy?
Yes.
You know, what can we use to combat when you get those feelings of depression?
And that's why routine is very important. Not just any routine, a good routine that you can stick with. Because you can create a routine, but, you know, when you do fall off the ladder, is that routine going to be strong enough that you can get back into your rhythm? You know, so the routine is very, very important on how you do things. I know I am the type of person that I'll start something, and once I fall off, it is so hard for me to get back on that train. As much as my mind's telling me, you know, you got to do this, you got to do this, my mind's not there. Once my mind is not there, it's hard to get back on that track.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult when your mind is someplace else, when it's focused on stress.
Yeah.
Like, man, we walked into like a fast food restaurant the other day, and this lady took our order. She was like, what do you want to order? We told her, and then she just walked away. So I looked and I was like, you know what? She might be on autopilot, right? Because as a therapist, like that's what I look for. Like I look for what is the reason behind the behavior, and I'm thinking about, okay, dang, she must not be getting paid nothing here. She probably thinking about, oh my goodness, is my paycheck gonna cover all my bills this month? Like all that going on while she has to stand up on her feet for I don't know how many hours. Right? So the thing is, when it comes to mental health and making it a priority, nobody's going to take care of you like you take care of you, period.
I agree.
Nobody's going to do a better job.
I agree.
And if you are in a constant state of stress and worry and living paycheck to paycheck and things of that nature, it's like, okay, remember, you drop down dead. The spirit, the mind, the body is all connected. They listen, the job will be filled next day.
Exactly. For what? That's
So
why
you gotta take care of yourself. You see what I'm
it's
saying?
important. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I never knew how important it was. You know, I've struggled with depression since I was
Mm-hmm.
17.
Mm.
But working the 9 to 5, giving 110% in every job that I've had, I
Yeah.
lasted there for 3 years, and then I've never been fired. The only reason I'll leave is because I
Mm-hmm.
move or something. But I've always
Right.
gotten the satisfaction. I guess I use work to get the satisfaction of what I wouldn't get home. The praises of doing a
Mm-hmm.
good job. You're doing amazing. You're giving 110%. So I was always that
Mm-hmm.
worker to put all my passion into whatever business it was. But then I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm replaceable. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're praising me. They love how I work. They love how I do things. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
with workers like that, we tend to do extra work that we're not getting paid for. But
Yes.
we love it because we love hearing the fact you're doing so good. We love having you here, and that's things that has to deal
Mm-hmm.
with trauma. That has to do at home. You
Yes.
know, I mean, especially well when it comes to me. So then it was I think 2 years ago when I was like, okay, I can't do this no more. I hate work. I hate
Mm-hmm.
working for somebody else. I hate giving my
Yeah.
110% to somebody else when all they're doing is taking advantage of me. When I can be doing that towards what
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about, you know. And
Yes.
of course, there'll have to be made some sacrifices to be made because you need to make money in order to put back into whatever you
Right.
want to do, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
people sometimes forget that yes, you can work a 9 to 5, but don't give it if it's your day off. That's your day off to rest. Take that day off to
Mm-hmm.
have a mental day to give yourself what you need. Because if you're working 110 hours, what about your mental health?
Yeah.
You know, are you
It's
good?
gonna
Like, is
it will
anyone checking in on you? Like, are you okay mentally?
yeah.
Like, are you truly happy? Yes, you're getting that money. Yes, you're getting, you're paying the bills. But what about you? When's gonna be your breaking point?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything,
Right.
however you're feeling, you're putting that all bottled in, all down, suppressing it. Especially if work is stressful too. That doesn't help.
Mm.
Who are you talking to when
It
you go
doesn't.
home? Who are you complaining about work when you go home? Especially if you have
Mm-hmm.
nobody, that's even harder because you go home, you're alone, and then also you're doing a job that stresses you out without you even
Yes.
knowing you're depressed. A lot of people don't even know they
Mm-hmm.
have triggers or they're depressed or have anxiety because they think it's normal. We've normalized
Yeah.
toxicity. We normalize, you have to have a 9 to 5. You have to do this and that. When really you should be taking care of you, your body, your mind. That is your temple. And that's what's gonna
Yes.
keep you going, having the same mind. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm even working on that. I struggle with that. I was the type to be like,
Yeah.
once I quit my 9 to 5, I was like, I'm never working, giving my 110%, 20 job that I go to. But then I noticed that's just how I am. I could say it out loud, but if I
Mm-hmm.
do get another job or work somewhere else, wherever I work, I am going to be giving 110% because that's what I've done my whole life since I was
Yeah.
14. So it's like, I don't know how to give less. I don't know how to give
Mm-hmm.
less. I know how to give
Right.
above and beyond, but giving less is something that I don't know how to do.
Yeah. Well, you gotta shift gears to giving more to yourself.
Which is hard too.
Yes, it is.
Self love
It
and
is,
putting
but
you
you still
first is hard.
deserve it. Mm-hmm. It is. It is difficult, especially if you grew up in a household where mom and dad didn't do it for themselves,
Yes.
right? So then they end up training you how to not do it for yourself, and so on and so forth. So it's definitely a difficult cycle to break, but so worth it. If you understood that the generations that come after you count on somebody doing it different.
No, yes, I completely agree. I had a question. I was thinking to myself how to ask it.
Hmm.
How do you feel? How would you tell people to become more aware of their mental state? If they can't afford therapy,
Um,
if they can't really afford to talk to someone and they want to work on themselves by themselves, what would you tell
mhm.
them to look at?
Well, definitely look at your environment. Make sure your environment is uplifting, right? Because a lot of times you are what you attract. So some people, they, what the space that they're in and the company that they keep determines how far they're going in life, in every aspect of the word, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So that's heart is a huge reflection on what needs to be worked on. Like, that's stuff that you can do. Like, does this space or this person bring me joy? Do I feel like it's an equal relationship? Do I feel comfortable, like I could trust this person with my heart? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't, then we gotta make some adjustments.
Adjustments. A lot of people are scared to make
Mhm.
adjustments, though.
Yes, they are, especially with family, and I know.
Yes, a lot of people are
I
scared
know
to make
that.
adjustments and take that leap of faith to change their
Hmm.
environment, which is, like you said, it's important. Environment is key
Yeah,
to everything.
right, exactly. It absolutely is. Um, your environment, clearing space, getting rid of the dead weight is going to be key when it comes to you trying to heal. And also the friends that are supportive, don't um if you're gonna have a friend, they might as well be useful.
Yeah,
So staying in your own spaces, not answering the phone, not talking to them, feeling like you're going to be a burden if you let them know what's going on with you, that's not really like what you need. So if you're going to have a friend, let them be your friend.
mm,
Let them in, talk to them, especially if they're doing things that you want to do instead of sitting back and being jealous and being envious, right? Bring them in, because you never know, they might have gone through some of the same things mentally that you're going through now, and they can offer some advice, you know.
exactly.
But that's the most you can do. I would say, by yourself, which really isn't by yourself. You can't do it by
Yeah, you
yourself.
need
So you have to have support
exactly.
regardless of whether you have a therapist or not.
No, I agree. Support is huge. Very. That can
Mm-hmm.
help you with anything, to be honest. What time is it? It's 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, support is huge. And
Yeah.
sometimes the biggest supporters are strangers. Believe it or not,
Yes,
the
they are.
biggest supporters will be
Mm-hmm.
strangers, and you will think family and friends will have your back, but those are the ones that some of them won't show up, and you can't hide.
Yes. How did you go through that? Like, did you go through that when you decided to quit?
To be honest, my mom. So this is how I feel about it. My family,
Mm-hmm.
they were not my supporters. They became my
Mm-hmm.
supporters because I would say when I was, I think 20, I think it was 5 years ago. Um, I had an incident, and with that incident, it kind of was a wake up call for them, especially for my mom. It was like
Mm-hmm.
she's been crying out for help, and I have not heard her for this long. And now, when my family does support me, I feel like it's fake. And I spoke to my mom about it. I feel like your love, and I feel like your how you guys treat me is fake now because you guys did not used to treat me this way. The only reason you're treating me this way was because of my suicide attempt. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's hard for me to accept the love and the support you're giving me right now because I don't believe it's real. Even though it's like it's genuine and things like that, for
Mm-hmm.
me it's not genuine. Because I'm like, if I didn't go through what I went through, would you be the supportive? You know? I mean, my
Mm-hmm.
mom is my biggest rock. I love her to death, and I know everything she did. Even though she calls me, be this through. Would you? But
Okay, now I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
she thought that was the best thing she could do for me. So I don't judge that. But at the same time, I spoken to her. I'm like, I never felt heard my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like you always chose my stepdad. You brought in another child into this world and created a family. What about me? You know? So I never felt heard. And now that she is hearing me, I'm like, okay, you're hearing me because you almost lost me. Like that,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have not gotten to. For me, it should have not gotten to that point for you to wake up and be like, oh, my daughter needs me. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had that conversation with her, which was really hard, but she understands. Now she's like, I
Yes.
completely understand where you're coming from, and it's okay. And she's like, I'll still be here supporting you no matter what, even though if you feel like it's fake or not, I'm gonna still continue being there for you. And I'm like, it'll be a work in progress for me to accept the love and the support um, that they give me now, but for me I feel like it's it's not genuine. And it's a lot of work to do with me. I got to look at why do I feel that way. But that I've learned, i'm i I'm such a kind, and I say this because I get it from everyone. I am the most kind soul you'll ever meet in your entire life. I'll give you the last dollar in my pocket if I needed to, because I know what it is to feel alone. I know what it is to have nobody, and I know how it feels to be in a really dark place and not know how to get out of it. And that's why every person I meet, I'm so nice. Some people tell me you're too nice. I'm like, I don't know what that person's going through. So I'm gonna be who I am, and I'm gonna be nice to every single soul I meet, because I could change that person's life with one smile, just by saying hello. Hello, like you never know anyone's background story. You never know how their day went. You can turn around someone's day by saying hi. How are you? How are you doing? Or a simple smile. And I believe that because I could have used that. Even though when people ask me, like, I always thought my problems were not important. And instead, what I would do, I would just give everyone else love. I will always be an ear for everyone else. I'll be there for everyone else. But then when I needed someone, I would not go to anyone because I didn't want to, I don't know, just like bring on more baggage, I guess. But I've been through a lot when it comes to depression and anxiety. That's why I created Divine Rose Arts. And that's because every time I am in a dark state, I create. My art is my escape. And with my clothing line, I feel like everyone needs to see the message. Dear self, everyone needs to know that I am proud of you. I might be a stranger, but I'm freaking proud of you. I'm proud that you're still here. I'm proud that you've made it this far. And that's why my shirt says, Dear self, I am proud of you. And on the back, it says, stay. Because we only got reminded to stay. Like, yes, you're hurting. Yes, you don't know if you should go left or right. But you have people that love you. They might not show it all the time, but you're important and you matter to people. And, we can't let how we feel in a certain moment take many years down the line or to come. There could be good years. All the roads, how do I say, all the things that happen to us, they happen for a reason. All the decisions we made that decision for a reason. Whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome, learn from that bad outcome. I learned I'd rather fail 100 times, because every single time I fail, I am learning from that failure. I'm learning how to get back up, how to become a little bit stronger, because I'm not gonna say I'm strong. I'm still working on how to pick myself back up when I'm upset. But out of every attempt I do, I know that I'm growing from that experience, and I can help somebody else. And that's why this year, to be honest, was the first year I was able to speak about my what I went through, my suicide. It's the first year I'm able to speak about it without choking, and speak about what I've been through, and just be honest with everyone and be okay that, like, yes, as my friends do suicide that are younger than me. And it hurts, because they're the happiest ones. It's always the happiest ones that you see that are so happy and you think they're doing fine, but they're the ones that are hurting the most. And it's sad to see so many lives be lost just to do.
But that's the balance, right? That's the balance when it comes to. That's why mental health is so important, and you're not doing it on your own is so important.
Exactly.
Because mentally, there's a lot of lies that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times we don't know that they're lies. Your mom not being invested and not being as supportive back then has to do with how she feels about herself. It have nothing to do with you. It's not I'm making a decision to just not show you the love. Is okay, I don't show myself love. So how can I show someone else? Right? And a lot of parents are actually that are emotionally withdrawn from their children, are just going through the motions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like when I talk about the lies, you feel like, well, am I not worth you showing up, supporting me, and things of that nature? But the truth is, it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Still hurts.
Exactly.
But it has nothing to do with you. but if you go believing that lie and you don't have anybody in your space to let you know that it is a lie,
Yeah.
right? That's the thought that you carry. And
Exactly.
it continues to break your heart.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
No.
saying? So that's why it's important that somebody from the outside looking in can tell you, okay, this is what this means. It doesn't mean this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're any less valuable. Like when it comes to abuse, like my abuse victims, my rape victims, and things of that nature, I help them understand the psychology behind the abuser.
Exactly.
Because every abuser has been abused. Every rapist has, believe it or not, has been raped, regardless of it being a man. That's the misconception, because with sleepovers and stuff, they say protect the girls, protect the girls. But what creates a rapist is another rapist.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So you really should be protecting everybody as a whole. But you can either continue to become a victim, right? When you don't, heal what happened to you,
Exactly.
or you become a predator. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You become vengeful. And how can I get my power back?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anything that your family does to you is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of how they feel about themselves.
That's something that should be taught at a young age, because
Yes, it should be.
when parents are being raised, from young age, it should be taught. And that's why when my baby sister was born, I was very specific on her from a young age, teaching her, like, I am worthy, I am strong, I am lovable, always saying her mantras every single day, because that's something I wanted. So I'm like, I'm going to provide that for her, and then put that in her mind now. So whatever she goes through, or whatever anyone else tells her, she already knows within herself that she doesn't need anyone else's approval but herself. Right. That she's worthy on her own, but I feel like this stuff should be taught at a young age. All kids should know their worthiness at a young age. That way, when they grow up, it's not that they're older and they're cocky, but they know, like, their worth. They know, like, whatever you say has, like, how you said, like, whatever anyone says to them has nothing to do with them. It has to do with that person.
Yes.
So
it's true.
I
think it's cliche. Like you say, okay, when your parents say, "Oh, bullies, they have low self-esteem." The truth is, bullies are probably getting bullied at home. Like,
you see that in most movies, though. You're right.
Yes. They're probably getting bullied at home, and they look for easy targets because they're the easy target when they're at home.
It breaks my heart.
So it's like it has to go somewhere. Exactly. It has to go somewhere. And that it's not to excuse people's behavior. It's so that you understand that it had nothing to do with you.
Exactly. I hate that. I'm glad you said that. Because a lot of people, when we look at the psychology side of it, a lot of people think, oh, you're just saying it's okay. If you talk about it, you're telling them it's okay to do that. No. We want you to really look at where the actual problem is. In order to solve something, you have to look really deep into the situation. Like, I took psychology in college was because in high school and middle school, everyone told me their problems. I don't know why. But everyone always loved telling me their issues, what they were going through, without me even asking. Like, I'll get to know somebody, and we'll be talking about their life and, what they've been through. And then somehow I'm magically giving them advice. I'm like, when I walk away, I'm like, what? How did I even know what to say?
Well, yeah. I mean, they saw safety in you. That's the thing. Like, that's usually what it is. When people feel safe, they come to you, right?
Yeah.
So if they didn't feel safe, they wouldn't come to you.
Yeah, that's the only reason I went into psychology. I was like, you know what? I might as well be a therapist. I'm always giving out good advice. People always coming to me, and I'm helping them out. And that's why I got into psychology. And everything I learned, I fell in love with. Special neuroscience and all of that. It's truly, I feel like psychology should be a class everyone should take in high school. Because it really helps you understand why everything happens the way it happens, why people act the way they act. And that way it will help people understand how to react to certain people. Right. Instead of being like, oh, why is this person always so angry? Or why is this person doing this? if you knew the information that we both know, you know more than me, of course, because I only, I only know a little bit. But knowing a little bit about psychology, you can really take a step back and be like, okay, that person's angry. Let me be nice. Some people just put fuel to the fire, thinking this person's just being a mean person, but there's so much more that goes into it. And you know what? I feel like we should do this once a week. If you are down, we could do different topics. We could do different topics. There's so many different topics to learn about.
They are there.
And for the people that have come on, or the people that see this recording afterwards, if you guys have any questions for her, please shoot her way. I don't come to.
Yeah.
I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just an honest human being speaking my experience and what I've been through. So the questions got to go to her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is also what I include as well. This is the seriousness of what I do, right? If you're a spiritual person and you believe, I don't believe in coincidences. I feel like the clients that I do have right now, I've been through something that they've been through. So that is by design. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So a lot of things will be, I teach everybody that your pain is not your own. It is not a loss, it's a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's time for you to make it a blessing for yourself and someone else, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that you haven't met yet is counting on you to make it through, that won't listen to me, won't listen to you, but will listen to a particular person, right? Based off of the vessel it comes from.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's strong.
So it's important that that's what you understand what your pain and what you go through is not for you.
It's
deep. For somebody else.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. That's deep.
It's facts.
Wow.
Like if you really start looking, you'll start to recognize, okay, I'm in line with this person to help them through this. Like even the friends that you have, or a random stranger be like, oh, I have a problem with this. And you be like, hey, I went through that before. I went through this breakup before, and this is how I got through it, or whatever the case may be. And you'll see those certain similarities, and you'll start to figure out why that person will only listen to you. Right?
That makes sense.
But all of us have to lead by example. We got to heal. It's not enough to say, oh, something happened to me. You have to heal from it.
And the healing process is it's hard. I mean, it's only hard if we don't want to let go. Like if you're still holding on and you're trying to heal, it's going to be hard. But if you let go and really focus on healing, then it's an easy process. But still, I'm trying to learn how to heal certain things. I know I'm being more open about everything that I've been through, which has helped me feel more freeing. But then it's just, it's a roller coaster ride. Our life's a roller coaster ride. That's what it is.
It is a roller coaster. And I'm saying, like, find out what your story is, and how you find out what your story is. You have to find out where you come from. Because that also gives you a lot of clarity. Like, why is my mom like this? How is her relationship with her parents? Right? Gotcha. And so on and so forth, as to why she can't give me this. I always joke with my clients, and I'll be like, well, I truly believe it, but I say it as a joke. I don't know how people are going to take it. But I don't really believe there's a such thing as an adult. I just don't. Like, I always tell them, like, what did it look like when your parent is screaming and throwing things around?
Yeah.
Does that look like an adult, or does it look like a 2-year-old throwing a temper tantrum?
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
That's what it is. You see what I'm saying? That's what that reaction is to trauma and triggers. It's that childhood, right? Yes. It's that inner child that's reacting to you right now. It's not when they say negative things, or when they're very fearful about the things you're trying to do. That's not the adult. Yeah. That's the inner child. That's the trauma speaking.
That reminds me of, I remember I learned a lesson about who's driving the bus. Sometimes you got to take a step back and see who's driving the bus in whatever stage of your life you're in. Is it a 5-year-old you, or is it a 24-year-old you driving the bus right now when you're making decisions?
Yes.
And that really put into perspective that certain, the way I react to certain things sometimes is not my 24-year-old me. It's my younger self reacting. And being more awake to, not more awake, but being more acknowledging my feelings more, I've come to learn that I have attachment issues. I've come to learn I have attachment issues. I have issues where questions, they irritate me. I hate when people ask me questions. I'm like, I don't like not like this is different, but like when it comes to anyone asking me like, what are you gonna do? What are your goals? What is that? Like, what are you doing today? Like, especially my family, when they ask me questions, it is a trigger. I've learned my triggers.
Yeah, the trigger because you don't feel safe yet with your family. I'm sure it brings about a whole lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And there's a like, well, why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Are you asking me to judge me?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So they have to earn that. They have to earn that back.
Yeah.
But you have to acknowledge those feelings that you feel.
So I'm learning my triggers, and I was like, there's a lot that when you really look at yourself, there's a lot of things that you would be like, I did not know I was like this, Sometimes we see ourselves as this whole person, but when you really take a step back and kind of analyze every action you take, you start to learn a lot more about yourself. And you could be like, okay, let's start healing some of these things that I'm doing, some of these triggers that I have. But triggers are a big thing, and we can go on all day about so many different things. And the main thing I want you guys to get out of this live is your organization. I want you guys to please go to her link, donate. Please let everyone know again what your community is about and the goal. I know you said it in the beginning, but there's nothing wrong with reminding them again.
Just a reminder, yes, I'm fundraising right now because I want to help bring mental health services to the underserved and underprivileged communities, individuals, couples, and families. Okay, I definitely, there's a need. Like I get DMs all day, every day about people in need that I can't provide the resources because I don't have the funding. So it's very important to me that we do this and we do this together. Because like I said, as a therapist, as a Black woman, like I fully understand that there are some disparities. Like even people that have the state insurance and things of that nature, they get treated a certain way. And they don't always get treated with care. They're not always with somebody that's culturally competent that also takes into their cultural experience. And I believe everybody deserves that, whether they can afford it or not. So if this is something important to you, because I only want the positive. I don't. If you give it out of, I don't want to. But here, no, don't even give it. It's okay.
Exactly.
Okay, work on that. I'ma pray for you. But if this is a cause that you truly believe in, please use the donate link in my bio. Okay. And also, I know some people don't like GoFundMe because they do take a large portion of the proceeds for themselves. You can go to my Cash App, my Live and Be Great Cash App, and donate that way as well.
Yes, you guys, please donate if you want to help for the cause. It's important. Our mental health is important, okay? Thank you for joining us on our live. Make sure to go check out her page for more information. If you guys have any questions, DM us. And thank you for tuning in, my love. Thank you for being on this live with me. Hopefully for more to come. Who knows?
Of course.
I hope you guys all have a great night. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night.